good, YouTube? What is good, YouTube, Facebook? However you tuning into the show right now, appreciate y'all tuning in, man. As always, Last Word Productions here. Your host Tavares Wilson, as you all know by now. I always get the last word, so let's get straight into it, man. First things first, this will be a solo show, so I'm not gonna be up here for the usual time, about hour and a half, 2 hours. We're gonna make it quick and easy. And we're just gonna talk about some things that's going on in Dolphin world right now, some things that are related. We're gonna answer questions in the comments if we get any. So let's get straight into it. So what I want to do, I want to center this episode around is essentially just players that the Dolphins still seem to have interest in, or players they can still target if they wanted to, if need be. So first things first, we spoke about Odell Beckham already, but it was a recent report that came out. Let me go ahead and read it for you all. That the Dolphins are serious, quote unquote, about trying to get Odell Beckham on the team. This was reported by Barry Jackson on the Miami Herald. And they went through multiple receiver options this offseason thus far. So it says that Jackson says Odell Beckham Jr. is Miami's top choice, meaning he is the guy they want in the building. They want him to come in and be their receiver 2, receiver 3. More than likely is a receiver 3. He's not going to be a receiver 2 with Waddle. I do not believe so, but who knows? They may have packages created for him specifically. You never know. So it says, but the current gap in finances has prevented in from being finalized. So essentially, the two sides, well, at least the Dolphin side, at least, they want to get this deal done, but the money isn't right for Odell Beckham. And not surprising at all. I said this on the last video, man. If it's going to take you over $10 million to go and get Odell Beckham, hell, if it takes anything a little over the vet minimum, if you got to pay him anywhere north of $6 million, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, simply put, last year he did not look like a guy that was even worth that. So I don't think you made that move, even if he does want to come here and he is settling on the dollars you're talking. If you got to pay him $10 million or more, I don't think it's worth it. I for sure do not think it's worth it. That's just my personal opinion, though. But another option that was out there that I heard some whispers about was Tyler Boyd. I don't believe that is the case. I don't think he's someone they're going to bring in, because Tyler Boyd, he still got some good football left in him. And I do believe he's going to demand a higher contract than what we're offering. The same issue with Odell Beckham. But instead, Tyler Boyd is still, to me, in my personal opinion, he still has at least 2, maybe 3 years of pretty damn good play. So we just got to see how that works out. And then after that, another name that's been tied to the team as an option for receiver 3 was Michael Thomas, former, all-pro for the New Orleans Saints. Has been troubled and battling injuries the past several years now. So he's a guy that could possibly come in on a cheap deal because of that. And it says that there's an option for them, but they're more mindful of him because the injury history that follows with Michael Thomas. I mean, the guy's been hurt the last, I want to say 3-4 years now. It's evident that he just can't stay healthy. I don't know what he's doing to take care of his body, but obviously it's not good enough. And some other guys that's listed, you got DJ Chark out there, Marquez Valdez-Scantling out there. You got Allen Robinson. You got Hunter Renfrow, who I think personally Hunter Renfrow would be a pretty solid choice as a slot option, but that's not here nor there. McCole Hardman, Economus St. Brown, and Jarvis Landry, who has tweeted out and showed and expressed his thoughts about possibly rejoining the team. Listen, I'm not here to tell you all that they should consider Jarvis Landry. I know it'll be a Dolphins fan's dream come true to bring Juice back in the building, but simply put, it's a reason why the guy wasn't on the roster last year. That's how I see it. It's a reason why he wasn't getting calls from anyone, even when they needed receiver help and all the injuries that was occurring in the league. It's a reason for that. I mean, sure, is he still short-handed and all those things? Yeah, I don't think those things leave you, but Jarvis Landry is in the latter part of his career, ladies and gentlemen. He wasn't fast to begin with. I could just imagine what he is now. Like, this is an offense that's built on speed. They're looking for speed on the outside. There's not a single slow receiver on the roster. Not a single one. Are they track stars like a Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle kind of speed? No, not all of them, but are they slow? No, they're not slow. Braxton Berrios isn't slow. Chase Claypool was not slow. Cedric Wilson was not slow. It's a clear identity the team is trying to build, and he just does not fit that mold. Now, I do think someone of his skill set could kind of help them what they want to do, but again, they clearly want dynamic players on the outside, meaning dynamic, someone who can catch the ball and possibly get another 8 to 10 yards out of the catch. He's simply not that. That's not who Jarvis Landry is. It's never who he was. It is what it is. So I don't think Jarvis Landry is a realistic option. I don't think DJ Chark or Allen Robinson, any of these dudes are realistic options. Because for one, you're looking for a receiver three. Receiver threes 9 out of 10 times are going to play in the inside. They're going to get work on the outside, but you don't want a receiver three going up against these corner 2s and 1s all game. It's not really a favorable matchup from the perspective of the depth charts and talent on talent. So I don't really think those guys are valuable, real liable options. To me, in my personal opinion, the two guys, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm looking at Hunter Renfrow, and I'm looking at to see if, honestly, McCole Hardman, man. I mean, listen, if Odell is talking about wanting more money after you offer him 2 contracts, let it go. Like, it's not worth it, bro. He's not going to be this guy that you all think. I was just fixing the camera. He's not going to come in to be the guy that you all think he was back in what it was, 2016, I believe, 2015, 2016. It's not going to be him. He's not going to be that guy. That's not who he is. It's not who he is anymore. But at the end of the day, I do believe this is a guy who still has something left in the tank and is capable somewhat, but he's not worth the $8 to $12 million contracts. He's not worth that in my personal opinion. And I do believe he's someone who has to accept that in order to stay in this league. Because after the stint he had with the Ravens last season, man, I don't believe anyone is going to give him the money he's looking for. But somebody might. I don't know. The league is a weird place right now in terms of finances and money. But everyone else, to me, aren't really valuable options. Now, why do I say McCole Hardman and Hunter Renfrow, though? Well, for one, I think they both fit for what you're trying to do. Is Hunter Renfrow a burner by any means? No. But what he is, he's savvy. He can pick spots, runs damn good routes, and he's short-handed. You need that on your team, especially in receiver 3 options. Now, I know some people will sit there and say, oh, well, can't you say that about Jarvis Landry? Problem with Juice is we haven't seen it in over a year. I don't know what Jarvis Landry is. I don't. Maybe, has he kept himself in shape? Has he been still going to the field? You just don't know. Is he going to be rusty? Like, you legitimately just don't know. Hunter Renfrow is still someone who was in the league the last 2 years and was successful. Well, about 2-3 years ago. I mean, the quarterback playing with the Raiders has not been good, so it's kind of hard to judge him. So I just look at it from the perspective of the guys who are relevant still and somewhat relevant and has somewhat still something left in the tank. I would rather just take that guy over the other guy if it came down to some of the skill set. To me, it just comes down to age at that point. Age and who you think still got something left to give you the most output as your receiver as your third option. Now, as far as McCole Hardman go, McCole Hardman simply put, he matches what you want to do. Fast, you want to route run everyone, can take a receiver screen, possibly turn into an 8 to 12 yard game. He doesn't need to, be outside coverage and leverage all game. Put him in slot, put him right other speedsters. Let him find open spaces. He's a guy who's not going to command or demand the ball 10 to 12 targets a game. He's a 3 to 5 target kind of guy. I say you make it work. You can make that work. He's not going to be expensive, I don't think. So, to me, in my personal opinion, that's something that seems more like a reliable, valuable option for them. But Odell, no, I'm not with it. Now that we read that, I'm gonna go into the 25 free agents that are still available that many people believe Dolphins still could target. And let's get right into that. So, first free agent up, Odell Beckham, as we all know. We discussed that already. The next player is Carl Lawson. Now, those who don't know who Carl Lawson is, he's the former edge rusher of the New York Jets. He was originally drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. His best season came with the Cincinnati Bengals as a rookie, where he posted 8.5 sacks. He hasn't since then eclipsed the 8-sack mark or even reached it. So it's kind of skewed. Last year, he did battle some injuries, but this is a guy who's, I want to say, lost a step, but he's just not as productive. Who knows what he'll be? Maybe you bring him in on a prove-it deal and let him prove it. See if you can earn a contract somewhere else, because, face it, you got two guys that are on injury right now. Both guys may not be ready for the beginning of the year. They just might not be. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. You don't know. I mean, the hope is one of those guys could come back by week 1 or week 3, but you just don't know with these injuries. And both guys aren't exactly spring chickens. Like they both already had an extensive injury history. So you may have to find someone else. I know you brought in Shaq Barrett, but you've lost every other main contributor at the edge that you've had. You've lost Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips for injuries at the very least the beginning of next season. And AVG is gone. Excuse me. Emmanuel Ogba is gone. It's not really much you could do. Yeah, struggle. Give me a second. I'm doing something. My apologies, you guys, but I still think that it's going to be, for the most part, a struggle when it comes to the edge / linebacker position, because of the simple fact you don't have anyone right now. I mean, if they want to write their hats off and feel good about just having Shaq Barrett, cool beans, but 30-year-old edge rusher who hasn't had a double-digit sack season in quite some time isn't exactly selling tickets as your number one pass rusher going into the season. So that's just my personal opinion. So, but they got to look into do something. So after that, we got Tyler Boyd. We spoke about Tyler Boyd. I don't think he's a realistic option, because, like I said, we're going to speak about guys who I think are realistic, and we're going to just completely eliminate guys who, I don't believe this team will go after. Next, after that, we got offensive lineman Greg Van Roten for the Raiders. Now, this is an option that I could see them try to go make happen. The thing is, though, they seem to be dead set on bringing back Isaiah Wynn and I think drafting another young guy. I mean, listen. If you get Carson Johnson, guy to Oregon center, I'm fine with it. But I think they're going to draft a guard or an lineman, period. So I don't see them going to get a veteran guy unless it's strictly for depth. I don't think they're going to sign a starter. Is this a viable option, though? Yes. I think he'll be solid. I think he'll be better than what you've had, for sure. But I don't think this is a major move they're going to make. Outside lineman, Andrews Pete. Now, this is an interesting one because you can look at it from two ways. One, you have Teron Armstead, who seems to be a walking injury at this point. I'm surprised he didn't retire, truth be told. And you also battle injuries across the O-line your entire season. I mean, Connor Williams went down. Robert Hunt went down. Isaiah went down. Rob Jones went down. Keon Smith, I believe, went down at some point. Austin Jackson, he was playing through injuries and missed a game here and there. Well, he didn't miss a game, I don't believe, but he did step out sometimes. But more of the story, you have injuries across your O-line and you have issues from that perspective. It would not hurt at all to bring in talent like Andrews Pete The issue is the money. Are you willing to put the money towards a position for the sake of depth and insurance? And that's the question. I'm not sure if they're willing to do that. But if they were, this wouldn't be a bad sign at all. So I think it's a possibility, but I wouldn't get my hopes up about it. Edge Bud Dupree. Again, another edge rusher, another guy who could possibly come in and just give you good snaps until your starters come back. Bud Dupree, best days may be behind him at this point. He was okay-ish with the Falcons. He wasn't that good with the Titans with his time there. He was solid. So he hasn't really been the same guy since he left Pittsburgh. But on the bright side, he isn't necessarily old. This is a guy who, simply put, you could possibly still get something out of. At least he could give you some kind of caliber starting reps. Like, I'm not saying the guy will come in and wreak havoc, but this is someone that could be a legitimate depth piece for you, even when your guys come back, just to help them ease their way into the rotation. Because a lot of people are not realizing that as well. They're not just going to come in and be able to play these snaps off the back, or at least most people aren't. And I'm not sure how it will be with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Hurts. Now, maybe they can, because Jalen Ramsey did it. We'll see. But I'm not fully sold that they can, truth be told. Then after that, we got Lincoln Thomason, the O-lineman from the Jets. Now, I'm not with this at all. If you're getting any lineman from the Jets who literally just went out and signed 3 veterans, one in Tyron Smith, I believe Mitch Morris was not Mitch Morris. They signed the center. I can't recall his name right now, and they signed the guard. They signed 3 new linemen. Whenever you are looking at free agents, to me, in my personal opinion, it's like picking apples from the grocery store. If you see everyone getting apples from the back because the apples in the front don't look that appealing, why in the world would I want to grab an apple from the front? It just doesn't make sense. Let me get the ones in the back just like everyone else, because they're clearly fresher, better, and more appealing. Lincoln Thomason was a part of the worst units in the league. You're going to add him and put him in a possible situation where he might have to play significant snaps. I'm good off that. This is a guy they don't need to look into. Me personally, I don't believe they should. D lineman, Calais Campbell. Now, this is interesting because Calais Campbell, despite his age, still very solid, still can play, is a mammoth of a man. This is a big dude. But at the end of the day, you need to replace Christian Wilkins and his snaps. Christian Wilkins is one of the few defensive linemen in the league who could play 95% of the snaps in the game and play each and every week, not get hurt, and still give you high-level production. It was unheard of. So that type of guy you got to replace by committee. And I think Calais Campbell could come help do that, especially if you have him in a rotation. I don't think he's going to be a guy that can necessarily start and play snap after snap because, simply put, he's, like I said, he's up there in age now. But if you put him in a rotation, you put him behind a guy like Zach Sealer some plays, and you get these other guys involved, because I believe they signed at least 4 new defensive tackles. I mean, I know they re-signed Deshaun Hand as well, so you get him in a rotation, maybe he can give you something. Maybe something's still there. Next name, Hunter Renfrow. Spoke about Hunter Renfrow. Excuse me. I think Hunter Renfrow is a legitimate option for receiver 3. I don't see why they wouldn't look into it, and I don't see how it would hurt, essentially. Like, he's a solid corner. I mean, not corner. He's a solid third-string receiver, slot guy. And he, simply put, is something you don't have your team right now. He's consistent. Catches the ball well. He's a little bit more agile than he's given credit for, I believe. And overall, I just think he's a solid player. Mason Cole, the center from the Steelers. I'm not sure if they're looking at centers because the Aaron Brewer signing. I believe they're held set on him being the center unless they get a steal in the draft. Hence. Excuse me. Hence, Carson. But Mason Cole wouldn't be a bad depth piece because we seen last season you might need depth at center because having Liam Mockenberry there wasn't it. I mean, did he do okay at times? Yeah, but when he stepped up in competition, it was bad. Snaps weren't good. It was like he was floating the ball in midair, and just truth be told, he's not a good blocker. He doesn't pull well. He doesn't play with good leverage. He can't get out in space and get up and put hands on the body. He can't do it. It's not him. You need someone who can. You need depth at the position. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So I wouldn't be upset at all if they looked in Mason Cole. I think they should look into adding a veteran in the inner line, whether it's guards or center. I believe so. Receiver Michael Gallup. Now this is a guy who we did not talk about when I was speaking about receivers earlier into the show. Now, Michael Gallup is an interesting case. He's not a excuse me. He's not an old guy. That's what I wanted to say. But I do not believe his best years are ahead of him. I think Michael Gallup is what Devontae Parker was for you. Positional guy, can win jump balls, strong hands. He isn't a guy who's going to beat you deep. He isn't going to blow past you or wire you with speed. He isn't a technician by any means. He's not that great of a route runner. And I'm not saying you can't make a living in the league like that. Because listen, to be honest with y'all, when I play receiver, even though I got my flag stuff on right now, when I play receiver, I'm not out there to do cute cuts or anything like that. I'm there to get from point A in and out of my break, catch the ball. That's it. That's what he does. The issue is there's no kind of dynamic ability once the ball is his hands. That's the issue. He's a position kind of guy, and that's it. That's it. So I'm not sure if that's the look they're looking for in a bigger guy who's just positional, because I think they want Eric Uzakama to be that if he does come back healthy. But we'll see. I don't think it's a real legit option at this point. Excuse me. Next receiver we got on here is Brian Pringle. Now, this is a little dicey because he fits somewhat what you want to do. He's athletic. He's not the fastest, but he's got some speed. And truth be told, I think he has solid hands, but he doesn't do anything extremely well or just that much better than anyone else on the roster, in my opinion. So I don't think they should look into bringing this guy in. Connor Williams, a Dolphin, a former Dolphin at least. This is a guy who's been reported to possibly sit out all of next season because of his ACL injury and how late and catastrophic it was towards the end of the year. If Connor Williams was healthy, I have zero issue bringing him back and giving him a contract. Zero issue. The problem is I don't know what he will be now. Because when you're a guy whose strength as a lineman was run blocking and pulling, and you tear your ACL, how much slower are you? Will you lose a step? Will you be hesitant to cut or try to get upfield to block someone now because you're not trustworthy of your leg and will it give out? Like, those things matter. So I have to see that kind of unfold first before I sit here and say they could bring back Connor Williams, in my opinion. O-lineman Mark Galinsky from the Giants, just like I felt with Lincoln Thomason. Do not go picking cherries or apples from a bad tree. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's all I gotta say about that. Offensive lineman Dalton Wisner. I'm actually with this one because I feel like he's a solid pickup, and I think he's better than what you have right now. I think Dalton Wisner, if not better, is on the same level of Isaiah Wynn, and he'll play. I mean, it's that simple. I think they should look into Dalton Wisner. Corey Davis. For those who don't know, I believe Corey Davis did announce that he's coming back out of retirement. And this could be a guy that you possibly could look into. This was a guy who was a high sought-out draft pick at one point out of when he went to Tennessee. I always thought he was somewhat solid. I never thought he was spectacular, but I thought he was a solid receiver, and I would have an issue with him being your best receiver in terms of like amongst the other guys. Like I don't have a problem with that. But the same problem I have with Jarvis Landry, same problem I have with him. I don't know what he is. I don't. Who knows what he is at this point? He was a solid route runner when he was playing. He was had solid hands, had solid speed, but who knows now? You get what I'm saying? Like he could have lost all of those things now. I don't know if he kept himself in shape or not. Receiver DJ Chark, we talked about DJ Chark. I don't think he'll mesh well. Nick Gates, Commanders center. Again, don't pick bad apples from a bad tree, man. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Michael Thomas, receiver. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Chiefs. We talked about both of those guys. I don't think they're viable options. Marquez Valdez-Scantling will be a better option in my opinion at this point because one, he could play. He could at least be on the field. Michael Thomas, you'll be lucky to get 8 games out of him at this point in his career. He just being transparent. But neither one of these guys, in my opinion, they're not that much better than what you have on the roster. They're just not. Just not. Yannick Ngakoue, edge for the Bears. Now, this is a guy who I wanted a couple years back, who I thought was damn good. And I still think he has some football in him. Now, does that mean I wanted him as bad as I once did? I would put no. But Yannick Ngakoue can get after the quarterback still somewhat. And I think he plays with good leverage. His hand placement's phenomenal. And he's not that good at setting the edge, I will say that. But he isn't just terrible at it either. He's serviceable. So I wouldn't have a problem at all with them bringing in Yannick Ngakoue and them putting him on the other side of Shaq Barrett to hold down the force until you get your 2 guys back. I wouldn't have an issue with that at all. So next guy, we got James Smith-Williams. Don't know too much about James Smith-Williams, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. But the Commanders' pass rush was not impressive once they traded away Sweat and Chase Young. So can't be that impressive. Connor McGovern, the Jets again. Don't be picking from a bad tree, man. Frank Clark. Nah, you somewhat seeing how that went. So I'm not with that. And last name is McCole Hardman. Remember, I said McCole Hardman to me, in my personal opinion, guys. I think that would be their best, one of the 2 best options at the third receiver spot. He fits what you want to do. Fast guy, can get it after the catch, agile. He has decent hands. He has solid hands. They're not terrible. Solid to okay route runner. So I think this is a guy who they could also look into. But out of these names, man, few linemen, edge rushers, and some receivers I think they can look into because I think those are still positions of need. You need another guy at receiver position, even though I think the biggest problem with the receiver 3 positions that the guys that you got at receiver 3 just aren't getting the snaps. They're not getting the looks. Still think you need O-linemen for sure. And I just personally think you need at least 1 or even 2 more edge rushers. Just bring someone in who's serviceable. You don't need to break the bank for anyone. That's just my opinion, though. But we're going to cut this show short, guys. That's all I got tonight, man. This is a solo dolo show again. I appreciate those who tuned in, who came through. Be sure to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Last Word Productions. Remember, I am on Facebook as well, Last Word Productions. I'm Last Word Productions everywhere, guys. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, whatever social media platform you can think of, 9 out of 10 times, I'm on there. Peace out, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one, man.